First of all, I think most people don't realize monkeys can play Pong. So step one, monkeys can play Pong. So you train the monkey to play Pong, and and you give it basically it just has like a banana smoothie every time it hits the ball using the joystick. It gets a little sip on the banana smoothie.
Wow. You guys have got to try the cold chocolate.
I've had
it. Then you activate the neural link, and you basically see when the monkey's moving the joystick, what neural signals do you read out. Then you disconnect the joysticks. The monkey's still moving the joystick, but the joystick's not connected anymore.
Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities? Did you talk about vice presidential possibilities?
Hold it. Wait. Do you have a, Oh, yeah, sorry.
Hey, don't...
Two figures on either side, praying beside a pyramid with the sun directly above it.
He's right. It was in front of us the whole time.
General West, Jackson has identified the seventh symbol.
Go ahead.
Programming seventh symbol into computer.
Chevron 1 is holding. Chevron 1 is locked in place.
Power output at 23%.
The Vector, NASA's official logo. If you've ever looked at NASA's official logo, both their official insignia and their official seal, you'll see that the most prominent object in the seal is a red swooshing object. They call that the chevron or the Vector. If you ask NASA's Public Affairs Office, this symbology is featured so heavily in their insignia and seal, they'll give you what really amounts to the standard facile cover story for the unilluminated. They'll tell you that is a representation of a hypersonic wing design from the 1950s, which was the time the logo was created. Not exactly the case. Someone might want to ask the Russian Federal Space Agency, Roscosmos, that was formed in 1992, why they chose that same logo.
We're here to discuss a monumental national achievement. From the instant the coronavirus invaded our shores, we raced into action to develop a safe and effective vaccine at breakneck speed. We're just days away from authorization from the FDA, at which point we will immediately begin mass distribution. As a result of this unprecedented investment, we are exceedingly proud that both Pfizer and Moderna have announced that their vaccines are approximately 95% effective. Despite the grim projections from the media 8 months ago, we did something that nobody thought was possible. They said it will never happen, you could never do it, it was a pipe dream. In just a few minutes, I'll sign an executive order to ensure that American citizens have first priority to receive American vaccines. We will soon end the pandemic, and we will save millions and millions of lives.
We need a cure! We need a cure!
Why, the only cure is bed rest. Anything I give you would only be a placebo.
Where do we get these placebos?
And while you're at it, you can go ask the Chinese, who formed their space agency in 1996, why in the world they're using a hypersonic wing design from the 1950s as their official logo. Then you can ask the Japanese, the South Koreans, Taiwanese, Malaysia, Mexico, Iran, all of these countries, even Bulgaria. They all utilize the vector symbology in their space agency logos for their national space agencies.
Well, there is a new explorer on the moon today. A rover from an Indian spacecraft has already taken its first walk near the moon's south pole. The rover rolled down the ramp from its lander on Wednesday. It'll spend the next 2 weeks collecting soil samples and analyzing the mineral makeup of the lunar surface. India becomes only the fourth nation to land on the moon behind the United States, the old Soviet Union, and China.
Chevron 2 is holding. Engage. Chevron 2 is locked.
It's 35%.
All right, we've got extension grad at the gate. Evacuate all personnel.
it gets even deeper. You can go look at the individual manned program patches for NASA. The Mercury program, for example, a blatant use of covert symbology. In every logo dealing with the Mercury program, you'll see what looks like a number 7 in their logo. And again, NASA's official story is that they put this number 7 there so that they could pay homage to the original 7 Mercury astronauts. Kind of forgetting the fact that only 6 Mercury astronauts actually flew into space, because number 7 never did. Deke Slayton had a heart problem, so he didn't get to go up. So there were only 6 Mercury astronauts. Yet there's a 7 in every single logo. That's in the official mission or official program insignia for Mercury, as well as the 6 individual mission patches carry this logo. And it carries on to the Space Shuttle program. If you look at the Apollo logo has a big letter A in it. At least that's what they want you to believe, but it's not. Again, that's just a simple way of explaining away the inclusion of this vector symbology in the logo.
Sons are the cover stones?
Yes. My father found it 1928, made out of a mineral, unlike any found on Earth.
Chevron 5 locked in place.
79%.
Chevron 6 is holding. Chevron 6 is locked in place.
If you go to the Space Shuttle program, the original Space Shuttle STS program patch is a triangular patch that, again, hides the use of the chevronic vector symbology. And that also goes for many of the STS-specific mission patches. Every single one of the International Space Station expedition patches carry the vector symbology. The Russian Mir Space Station used the vector symbology. That was their official logo.
This is as far as we have ever been able to get.
You can even go deeper and look at military-industrial complex companies. Look at the logo on a company like Lockheed Martin, 2 vectors. The X-Prize logo, Ames Research Labs, U.S. Space Command. When you get into the military realm, the United States Space Command, their official logo is the vector symbol. And when you look at the military's individual space-specific programs, all of them deal with vector symbology in their official insignias. And the question really becomes, who or what are these people paying homage to?
Contact is about to be made. A new dimension is coming where the language of symbols lets man and machine communicate logically.
The idea was supposed to be that he is taken in by godlike entities, creatures of pure energy and intelligence with no shape or form. They put him in what I suppose you could describe as a human zoo to study him, and his whole life passes from that point on in that room, and he has no sense of time. It just seems to happen as it does in the film. They choose this room, which is a very inaccurate replica of French architecture, deliberately so inaccurate, because, one was suggesting that they had some idea of something that he might think was pretty, but weren't quite sure, just as we aren't quite sure what to do in zoos with animals, try to give them what we think is their natural environment. Anyway, when they get finished with him, as happens in so many myths of all cultures in the world, he is transformed into some kind of super being and sent back to Earth, transformed and made, into some sort of Superman. We have to only guess what happens when he goes back.
Presenting the Explorer, an extraordinary home computer designed to let you follow the on-screen graphic instructions so word processing, filing, and calculating are as easy as ABC. The Explorer, built to be compatible with us and them.
U.S. City Hospital, 8 p.m. An unexpected visitor has just arrived, bearing unwelcome tidings. A disease so new the textbooks haven't recorded it. This, then, is its first case history, documented from the medical files of the Twilight Zone.
On New at Noon, health officials report 2 more suspected cases of monkeypox in New York City. The patients tested positive for the virus that is presumed to be monkeypox. The infections would mark the 2nd and 3rd cases in the city. Contact tracing now underway to find others who might have encountered the 2 patients. Suspected or confirmed cases of monkeypox are now reported in at least 6 states.
So we, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.
Mina says, hey everybody, I'm gonna play a game today. Look, Mila, we got the iPad. We're gonna play some baby bubbles. Look, Mila. Get them. No, don't mess with the home button. You gotta pop, look. Get this one, that one. Get that one. You cleared the board. Way to go, Mila.
The U.S. have jumped nearly 33% in just the last 4 days. More than 3,900 cases reported. That's the most of any country at the moment. Experts say the virus is highly contagious and is transmitted through direct contact with skin. The CDC says you can take precautions by washing your hands, but as of this morning, only those who are considered high risk are able to get a monkeypox vaccine. According to the CDC, 6 cases have been reported in Kentucky, while 33 have been reported in Indiana.
With us here today. First things first, we have 1,917 coronavirus cases in Victoria. That's 33 more than yesterday.
As of today, and I say as of today at this hour, we have 33 confirmed positive tests.
The suggestion that NASA faked the Apollo missions goes back to the very first time Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. Some believed he never really went. Others believe that he did make it, but the famous footage and photographs are fake. To find out more about how and why the landings might have been staged, Second Thought has made this video for you. Please check it out, it's great. In the meantime, in this video, we'll consider the fact that if the footage were faked, someone had to fake it. And the best suspect is legendary director Stanley Kubrick. What's more, he may have left clues that expose the greatest hoax in history. Not only was Stanley Kubrick an artistic genius, but he was a technical wizard. His groundbreaking film, 2001: A Space Odyssey, made him the obvious suspect to fake the moon landings. It came out in 1968, over a year before the Apollo 11 landing. Yet its depiction of weightless space travel is still hailed as the most accurate in cinematic history. Kubrick is known as the most meticulous filmmaker ever, and he worked closely with NASA and aerospace engineers. The spaceships and spacesuits were designed in line with actual space travel technology. Images of the moon were constructed using NASA's best maps of the surface, which is why they still stand up today. The film features extensive sequences set on the moon, which use miniatures and front-projected matte paintings to recreate the process of landing and walking on the desolate moonscape. Theorist Jay Widener says a close examination of NASA footage and still photographs reveals the same camera tricks were used as in Kubrick's sci-fi epic. He believes that Kubrick was hired by the US government to stage the moon landings using the technology and equipment he perfected on 2001: A Space Odyssey. Furthermore, Widener says Kubrick subverted his vow of secrecy by hiding clues to the truth in his 1980 horror masterpiece, The Shining. The most obvious allusion to the moon landings is in this scene, where young Danny Torrance is playing in the Overlook Hotel. He is wearing an Apollo 11 sweater, and as he stands up, it is like the rocket is taking off. This is probably a deliberate visual gag on Kubrick's part, given the specially designed carpet of the hotel has a geometric pattern similar to Apollo 11's launch pad. With this in mind, Jay Weidner argues there are many more references to NASA's lunar program littered throughout the film. The food supplies in the hotel include Tang, a powdered fruit drink used by NASA on its manned spaceflights. More subtly, the number 11 and the letter A are hidden in shapes throughout the sets. And the Native Americans on the tapestry to the left look suspiciously like Saturn V rockets, the same ones used on the Apollo program. The film begins with the main characters, Jack, Wendy, and Danny Torrance driving along the Going to the Sun road in the Rocky Mountains. The classical god of the sun is Apollo. Later, when Jack Torrance meets the manager of the hotel, we can see two eagles in the office. Also, Jack's typewriter is a German Adler, or eagle, machine. The symbol of the Apollo missions was the American bald eagle, and the lunar module itself was named the Eagle. Meanwhile, the manager's outfit, comprising of red, white, and blue clothing, means he represents the government. Jack Torrance, on the other hand, is an author, an independent artist looking for a job to support him and his family while he works on his next project. In other words, Jack represents Stanley Kubrick, and the manager represents the government hiring him to work on the Apollo program. The pressure of the huge task gets to him and puts a strain on his marriage. Jack's rant is therefore really Kubrick's feelings about the dark hoax he was forced to perpetrate.
Ever thought about my responsibilities?
Oh, Dick, what are you talking about?
Have you ever had a single moment's thought about my responsibilities? Have you ever thought for a single solitary moment about my responsibilities to my employers? Does it matter to you at all that the owners have placed their complete confidence and trust in me, and that I have signed a letter of agreement, a contract, in which I have accepted that responsibility? Do you have the slightest idea what a moral and ethical principle is, do you? Has it ever occurred to you what would happen to my future if I were to fail to live up to my responsibilities? Has it ever occurred to you? Has it?
As Jack types, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And the nature of the work is hinted at in the typeface, A11 for Apollo 11. It is important to note that The Shining is adapted from the novel of the same name by Stephen King, but none of the allusions to the Apollo program were in the book. They were added by Kubrick as part of his changes to the source material. These changes included altering the book's Room 217 to Room 237. Jay Weidner says Kubrick changed the number to draw attention to the moon landings. The average distance of the moon from the Earth is 237,000 miles. 237 is also, according to Weidner, the name of the studio where Kubrick filmed the fake NASA mission. However, most of these allusions are hard to prove. The Shining is so layered and visually complex that it lends itself to countless interpretations, as demonstrated by documentaries and critics. Nevertheless, some of these supposed references to the moon are probably misinterpreted. For instance, the average distance of the moon from the Earth is over 238,000 miles. It seems unlikely that the meticulous Kubrick would make that mistake. In fact, the owners of the hotel used for the exterior shots have said that the room number was changed because the hotel had a real Room 217 and didn't want to discourage guests from booking it. In December 2015, filmmaker T. Patrick Murray published what he claimed was an exclusive interview with director Stanley Kubrick. In it, Kubrick says, "I perpetrated a huge fraud on the American public, involving the United States government and NASA. The moon landings were faked, and I was the person who filmed it." Kubrick's widow, Christiane, says the interview is a complete fabrication. The double in the video looks very little and sounds nothing like the real Stanley Kubrick. Furthermore, T. Patrick Murray has given no plausible reason why the notoriously private director would give him an interview, and why he kept the interview secret for 15 years after Kubrick's death. The director's daughter Vivian made a documentary using footage she filmed on the set of The Shining. In July 2016, she issued a statement strongly denying the theory that her father faked the moon landings. She argues that he had too much artistic integrity and distrust of government lies to ever want to help them carry out such a gigantic hoax. Despite claims to the contrary, Stanley Kubrick never said he faked the moon landings. The people who knew Stanley Kubrick best, his family and colleagues, all say he never did it, and it never would. Meanwhile, theories about clues he planted in The Shining only work if you interpret the film one particular way. This hasn't stopped other books and films being inspired by the theory. There is something interesting in the argument that Kubrick's filmmaking tricks were used by NASA to construct the Apollo 11 footage. However, NASA insists the footage is real, as do the Apollo astronauts. Moreover, so does the great director himself.
Just put the end to the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible. Swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Several, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. Why don't you talk to the administrator at NASA? We're passengers. We're guys going on a flight.
I don't hit people, but you're going to be on the deck unless you get
I'm heading out. I appreciate it.
and get the hell out of the house.
Well, I take your stuff and get the fuck out. Why don't you quote me and say it's bullshit?
I mean, the shadows in the wrong place. I don't give a damn about all that shit.
You're the one who said you walked on the moon when you didn't. Calling the kettle black if I ever thought of it. Saying I misrepresented myself.
Away from me.
You're a coward and a liar and a thief.
You want me to knock you in the head?
Well, I want you to swear to God on the Bible that you walked on the moon. If you walked on the moon, we're given the opportunity to swear to God that you walked on the moon.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to get the hell knocked out of you if you don't leave me alone.
They're beyond human. They couldn't cover it up. They were just too human.
Exactly. You can see on Neil Armstrong particularly, he doesn't want to lie. This guy just doesn't want to lie.
No.
He's looking down. He just doesn't want to say anything. This is why he didn't give any interviews for the rest of his life.
Look at that. Please do look at that, folks. YouTube video of the first Apollo crew to come back at press conference. It's really embarrassing. I mean, it's just embarrassing. The lie was so big that they really couldn't fake it that well. It was too much for them.
In the movie 2001, Arthur C. Clarke, very high Freemason, gives you the agenda of high Freemasonry, not the schmuckdom Freemasonry, but the high stuff. He gives you their agenda and their philosophy and their religion in the movie. And in the beginning of the movie 2001, made in the 1960s, they show you the ape men, the hairy guys, supposedly. And the hairy guys are terrified of the darkness, and they quiver in their caves at night, and in the morning they go across to the watering hole and they meet this other tribe of ape men, and they shake their fists and so on each other, go through a little dance, a song and dance, and then they have a drink and sort of muffle off in their own separate ways, and that's how it's been going on forever. And in the little sequences around it, as they're showing you, they show you a pig, you see, as part of their religion. You understand all this later. And they'll show you a little tree branch shaped like a big snake, you see. And you see all these emblems, but these are actually Masonic emblems, occultic, high occultic emblems. You see all through it. And even though the story eventually goes into space, it starts with these cavemen, and an obelisk comes down, this black obelisk. And in the book is more detailed, because the obelisk pulls each caveman out one by one and makes them jump around and stuff, and it's testing them out to see who's got the best smarts. And it picks one of them, and one day at the watering hole, instead of going over and shaking their fists and yelling and screaming and then having a drink and going home, this one picks up a bone, because they love the skull and the crossbones, of masonry, the pirate's flag. He picks up a thigh bone, and then he smashes his enemy over the water hole there, and he kills him. And they're telling you that's the right of might. The right of might. He who will kill is superior.
As they give you religions about being meek and mild, they teach another one for themselves. Progress. You see, they have a thing called progress. They hate something called stagnant civilization, arrested civilizations. No, you must have progress. And progress to them is done through those who were willing to kill and become the top chutzpah, the king of the ape men. And then it jumps from there into the future, to the year 2001, and then a space journey occurs, supposedly on the trail of this obelisk that had been on Earth. Ends up on Jupiter, but it's all occultic. It's nothing to do with space travel. There's a Masonic initiation in it. You'll see the computer HAL on board the spaceship traveling to Jupiter, kills off 2 of the guys that are with him, and then tries to kill off the 3rd guy. He outsmarts it and disables it, meaning he overcame all the natural laws. HAL is the sun, like halogen, halcyon, the Greeks, HAL. And HAL, one letter after it, each one, an alphabet is IBM, you see. IBM, you speak it as I-beam, the beam from the eye of Ra. The beaming from the eye is between the pyramid, the capstone, and the rest of the pyramid. So everything is shown to you. It's not necessarily that you understand. It's only necessary that you think you understand whenever it comes out of these movies chomping away there, it's a good movie, what's next? I have no idea what it means. And in 2010, as a follow-up to the movie, then it shows you what's supposed to happen in 2010. And so this vague thing at the end where this guy who escaped, the computer remembers, in the next movie, he's timeless, he's ageless, he's become a god because he overcame Halcyon, you see, the sun, the natural order. He overcame all the laws, and he's a god. And a new sun appears in the sky. But as above, so below. So a new sun will appear on earth, a messiah, a being, an entity, whatever it is that they bring forth to you with much hullabaloo and fanfare, I'm sure. But they're telling you their system, that they show you their religion from evolution, which is their belief system, both physical and spiritual, because they do believe in reincarnation, but they don't believe that everybody reincarnates.
Your children will be born in a world of 2 suns. Someday, the children of the new sun will meet the children of the old.
Ready?
So we are going back for another prototype.
With who? We can't land on the moon. We aren't touching down for 5 years. We can make a film that shows us going to the moon without actually doing it.
Operation Avalanche is the faux documentary narrative of 2 CIA agents tasked with faking the 1967 moon landing. As part of their research into creating a believable fake, they visit the set of Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey, blurring all boundaries between film and reality.
Do you see what's going on here? Kubrick is getting NASA to make sure that his space movie looks like real space. And so we're going to use his space movie to make sure the real space movie looks like space.
By framing their film as a period documentary, the filmmakers created a unique challenge for themselves: how to have their characters interact with the real Kubrick in archival footage.
Well, I think right at the beginning, we'd said we wanted Stanley Kubrick in the movie. I thought it was going to be so easy because there was going to be film footage of Kubrick, and we would just do the same thing that we do all the time, which is we take the film footage, we green screen me into it, done. Everybody's like, wow, it's like Forrest Gump. So we get to the moment where it's like, okay, so what is the Stanley Kubrick footage we can use? It's nothing.
Kubrick didn't want any footage on, any documented footage being taken during the making of 2001. He only had a couple news crews come in, which is why all that footage is so brutal.
It's based on a real story about the guys investigating Stanley Kubrick. 2001 is so connected with the Apollo launch. Everybody likes saying Stanley Kubrick was involved. So the idea of not having in the movie would be such a letdown, but also kind of bullshitting our way into just show, oh, he's in the room over there, or getting a look-alike. All that stuff just wouldn't fit in the documentary world that we were fighting so hard in every other respect to create.
The initial part, we wanted to sell that we were actually at Shepperton Studios in the UK, and we set up a scout. Our plan was we would go do this tour and then try to sneak away and maybe steal a few shots. But when we showed up, they gave us our passes and they said, okay, now wait outside for the person who's gonna take you around, and we just bailed. We just found the areas of the lot that they were the authentic pieces of the lot that would have been there when Kubrick was there. So we shot a lead-in to that Shepperton sequence there. Everything else on the soundstage was recreated from archival stills.
Excuse me? How'd you set this up?
Tristan Zarafa. He was the one who came one day and was like, okay guys, what if we take like high-res stills of behind the scenes of 2001 and we'll comp Matt into it and I'll make all those like still images move.
Which sounded so crazy, and even he thought that this was crazy because nobody had ever done this before.
So he took the photographs and he did a 3D projection where he turned the photos into 3D space.
And not only did the world that he created look real, Kubrick could move. He could have actual Stanley Kubrick in the movie.
I would never normally do this, but it's for a friend. His name is Matt Johnson.
And so right away we're like, yeah, we'll just pour everything we have into this.
We then went onto green screen, and on soundstage we recreated camera moves in virtual space, which he then mapped back into the geometry of these photographs, replacing characters so that Kubrick is actually Kubrick, but he's on the body of an actor so that the body moves in the right way. The crazy thing about it was reverse engineering these photos. So trying to figure out, okay, what lens was this shot on? So he would go back and he'd actually find measurements of the soundstage where these sequences were shot, and then be able to take that geometry and make estimations about what lens lengths they were using in the photo so that we could use the same lens length.
The result is a Super 8 camera that Jared has hidden in a bag, and we walk onto the set of 2001, which when we first saw even the most rudimentary tests was just like jaw-dropping. We were like, wow, this is really real.
Not bad for on the spot, just figured it out.
Jared, wave! Jared, big wave!
How much time do we have left?
45 seconds.
He's leaving. Turn it off.
I'm trying to. I can't disarm it. What? I can't stop it. They got it rigged.
I've got an idea.
Yesterday we had 22 cases. Today we have 33 cases, so it has gone up by 11. That brings, those are 11 new cases. 22 goes to 33.
As we sort through this here in Arkansas, today we have 33 confirmed positive cases in Arkansas.
As of today, we have 33 confirmed cases with Boston residents. We expect those numbers to climb.
As of this afternoon, we have 33 Pennsylvanians who have tested positive for COVID-19.
Del Vaticano, diamo un'occhiata all'interno dove troviamo tutte le monete, 8 valori più i 20 euro in argento. Qui è bellissima, devo dire veramente bellissima. La capsula poi che sono messe centralizzate così sono molto belle. Guardiamo il rovescio dove troviamo la parte centrale, perché il tema della moneta è...
Yes, good morning. We are looking at the Vatican coin. I just wanted to give you a little taste of an Italian looking at that one. Here's a little bit of information on the coin. Notice the hand of the nurse that's about to administer the scoop to his arm. Kind of looks like something, maybe perhaps an M. And it looks like he's also pointing towards the O. I'm just pointing it out. And there's 3 pieces of paper, 3 people. Very interesting, very interesting. There's a little bit of a zoom in on the hand, and to me it does look like an M, like the Freemason hand sign, and he's pointing towards the 0. And what comes to mind, I find it very interesting, absolutely all of this, but it reminds me of the Ouroboros. That's what I thought of when he's pointing to the 0. But we know the Vatican has tons of symbolism, not only at the Vatican, but the Pope. He's done tons of symbolism with the hidden hand and many other things.
Attenzione, moneta molto bella. A me particolarmente mi piace tantissimo, specialmente lo stemma. Attenzione, moneta molto bella.
The Abraham Accord coin. I just wanted to bring this to you in brief to show you this and all the coins that there are in the Temple Coins website. I'm sure most of you are aware of that Cyrus and Trump coin, but they have since pulled away the Nikki Haley coin. I could not find it in there anymore. So
as of this morning, there were 33 confirmed cases in North Carolina.
Evening to you. Lots to get to tonight. I'm Leon Hendricks. We want to start with new information into our newsroom. Within the past couple of hours, there are now 33 confirmed cases of the coronavirus in Michigan.
But we have the BB coin with Trump there, of course. We have the half shekel showing King David. And these are in many various colors, by the way, so I'm showing you a few different ones, but in different colors so you can see. We have the Cyrus one, 70 years, Israel. Nazi hunters we have. Interesting. Catching Adolf Eichmann, Mossad coin. The Operation Entebbe, hostage rescue mission, and besting Idi Amin, Mossad coin. They keep coming up with new ones, and of course this is the newest, Abraham Accord coin, showing, and if one inclines towards peace, it inclines towards you. And it has many things on here, and I'll quickly read some of the things that they have listed here. The Israeli and UAE flags flying over an intricate silhouette of the holy city of Jerusalem, Israel's eternal capital, and Abu Dhabi skylines. Then next to that it says immediately below the skyline are the words Abraham Accord inscribed in Arabic, Hebrew, and English. Inspired by the words of the prophetic Isaiah, the back of the medal features the sword that gradually morphs and symbols of peace, prosperity, agriculture, and technology advancement. The commemorative coin also features quotes from the Quran and the prophet Jeremiah, encapsulating moral duty to seek out and embrace peace. So what do the Christians have to say about this coin, since they have been so eagerly helping the Israeli, just like Lance Wallnau, who has sold several coins. An eagle holding an olive branch and arrows, the seal of the President of the United States, completes the front design. Abraham, the familiar Bible character, is referred to as an Abraham in the Christian faith, Ibrahim in the Muslim faith, and Avraham of the Jewish faith. Israel and Emirati companies signed the agreement to work together for a cure for COVID-19, as well as cooperation in the fields of infrastructure, science, agriculture, and energy. The signature of Donald J. Trump, the president, has been nominated for the Nobel Prize.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Richard Gerhardt. Karina Corral has the night off. More cases of the coronavirus were confirmed today in San Luis Obispo County, bringing the total number now to 33.
Right now, Georgia is reporting a total of 99 cases in 19 counties. That is 33 new cases from just yesterday.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Swenson. More cases and more events affected. Here is the latest coronavirus news. There are now 33 cases in Louisiana.
So this is for all my friends all around the world who use different currency. This is a United States quarter from the year 2020. So what do the Americans put on their money in 2020? Yeah. Bats. This is the bat quarter. So if you've heard about the bat quarter, it is a real thing. In the year of the COVID, we've actually issued currency that has bats on it.
As expected.
As expected.
The number of cases of COVID-19 jumps. A total of 33 people in our state have been tested and are confirmed to have the coronavirus.
A city hospital, 8 p.m. An unexpected visitor has just arrived, bearing unwelcome tidings. A disease so new the textbooks haven't recorded it. This then is its first case history, documented from the medical files of the Twilight Zone.
Day 4 of the shelter-at-home order brought 6 new confirmed cases of the coronavirus to San Luis Obispo County, bringing the total number to 33.
There are growing questions today around a new and deadly outbreak. Scientists determined that this monkeypox virus was engineered. With limited antiviral drugs and no known effective treatments, countries around the world are struggling to control another pandemic with already devastating effects.
Seeing far fewer cases in countries where governments took early and decisive action.
And some international experts are urging the WHO to adopt a phased approach to warnings.
If you have fever and cough or sore throat, stay home.
I'd say 95% chance this was manufactured, came out of a laboratory.
The source of the virus was traced back to drug testing done at Genesis Laboratories in San Francisco.
A lab technician, now known as Patient Zero, was accidentally exposed to retrovirus ALZ-113, an Alzheimer's trial drug that was being tested on chimpanzees.
The infected chimps showed signs of erratic and aggressive behavior that led to their escape from the facility.
The now famous incident on the Golden Gate Bridge, a 6-hour standoff with police, ended with the apes disappearing into Muir Woods.
Emergency rooms are being overwhelmed with patients showing signs of what's being dubbed the simian flu.
The CDC is projecting a fatality toll ranging from 5 million to as many as 150 million in the next 6 to 8 months.
Anyone showing signs of a contagious illness will receive special treatment here.
the airport's purpose-built quarantine center.
Many of the new arrivals are children who have lost contact with their
The
parents.
mandatory quarantines have sparked civil unrest. Families are being ripped apart.
Containment is not very likely.
Prepare your families, know your evacuation route.
The survival rate is now approximately 1 in 500.
Violence erupted in the city center tonight, the third incident in as many days.
Martial law has been declared in 28 nations, including the US and Canada.
Reactor is overheating. We can't stop a meltdown.
Our generator lost its power.
The government of anything resembling civilian order. Due to the extremity of the simian flu crisis, all regular government functions have been suspended indefinitely.
Those who aren't killed by the virus will probably die in the fighting. So maybe this is it. This is how it ends.
You know, the complacency really is real. Reflecting back on when I was in government, not in the last administration, but a few administrations back, and I was starting to develop some public health preparedness programs. And I went to FEMA to talk to them about doing a tabletop exercise with us around preparedness for a biological threat. And we were going to do a flu pandemic-like scenario. And they said, you know, we don't do infectious disease. We do hurricanes, we do floods, you know, earthquakes, all kinds of disasters, but, you know, disease outbreaks. And I persuaded them to participate. And it was a remarkable thing to watch them as events unfolded, realizing just how much this kind of an outbreak would undermine all of the essentials of civic life, how it would undermine their own ability to mobilize and respond to needs, and also the recognition of the economic costs and productivity costs, in addition to the medical concerns, and ultimately the loss of faith of people in government and leadership because of the failure to be able to provide vaccine in a timely way and other things. So, you know, people just still don't think enough about what this really means in our daily lives and what the impacts are, even though every year we're suffering a lot of preventable death, illness, and disability.
Let's go. Come on, let's go. Hey, Gone. Yo, Gone. Yo, Jeffrey. Gones.
What?
Hey, look here. This here's James. Now, do me a favor. Why don't you show him around, tell him the TV rules, show him the games and stuff, okay?
How much you gonna pay me? How much? I'd be doing your job.
$5,000, my man. That enough?
5,000?
I'll wire a check to your account as usual.
$5,000. $5,000.
$5,000.
I'll give him the deluxe mental hospital tour.
My man.
Kid around, make them feel good. Work out. You're the prisoners. No, you're the guards.
Now you got it. Now you got it.
Right. Okay. It's all in good fun. All in good. Here's some games here, and there's. Get out! Get out! He's in my chair. Games. Here's some games. Games I want to get out. See? More games. Games, they vegetize you. See? If you play the games, you're voluntarily taking a tranquilizer. I guess they give you some chemical restraints, huh? Drugs! What did they give you? Thorazine? Haldol? How much? Learn your drugs. Know your doses. It's elementary.
some way to reach him?
Time or date, maybe? September 23rd?
September 23rd, 1780.
This is Agent Dunham. I need immediate evac. 923 Church Street. There's a device on the 47th floor. Nicely done.
Good performance.
By 9:23, the water of life shall proceed forth from the throne of the Lamb.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the Holy See, followed by the national anthem.
Not again.
Going somewhere? Then don't forget to take along the Sony Slimline Watchman. The super small TV with that tremendous Sony picture. In fact, when you compare the Slimline Watchman to other personal TVs, you'll realize Sony truly deserves a great big hand.
Tonight's movie will be Monkey Business.
Fox 2's Jessica Dupnack joins us live now. And Jessica, was this supposed to be a joke? Because it's not funny.
Not at all. And again, it compares the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, to a primate. This picture was sent to us anonymously. And I got to tell you, the first time I saw it, I couldn't believe that a teacher actually thought that this was okay to assign to her high school biology class. Take a look. Roper School, the oldest K-12 school for gifted children in the country, priding themselves on diversity and an alternative education, costing upwards of $30,000 a year. Part of that curriculum included this worksheet, passed out assigned in a high school biology class earlier this month in Birmingham. It's titled An Introduction to Primates and instructs students to pick from a gallery of photos labeled apes, monkeys, and lemurs. Among the photos, a picture of former President Barack Obama. The person who sent this to Fox 2 anonymously appalled at the racist messaging coming from a teacher. Tuesday, a spokesperson for Roper School sent us this statement with little context about the worksheet. The same day, the head of the school sent parents a letter explaining the worksheet was taken from a highly regarded university website and assigned in a high school classroom. The letter said in part, quote, "On behalf of Roper School's leadership, I would like to acknowledge the disturbing racial offense contained in this worksheet and sincerely regret its use and the harm it has caused," end quote. They're offering counseling to students who were affected by this and say they'll continue training staff to educate on racial bias in the classroom.
Lucifer, what is your problem?
Just that, sir.
Okay.
I'm a Christian, sir.
I'm pure and virtuous and wholesome and innocent. How can you say anything bad about me?
Sir, you need to be born again.
I am born again.
Now, did you just say that you were Lucifer?
I am Lucifer.
Okay, define Lucifer for me.
Pure, virtuous, wholesome, innocent individual that's out to help people.
Lucifer is?
Yeah.
Say that again. Lucifer is a pure, holy...
Virtuous.
Virtuous. Now, is he the Lucifer that God created?
That's the same one.
Oh, man, this is great. I'm going to put this on the internet.
Oh, Amen. God bless you, Amen. Brother.
Because that's exactly what the Shriners and Masons teach, is that Lucifer is light.
No.
And you're,
what
you're
about
confirming
those hospitals?
You know what, sir? Jesus said, "Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not do these good deeds in your name? And you'll say, away from me, you workers of iniquity, I never knew you."
Jesus said it?
In Matthew chapter 5.
Mercy.
No.
That's hard to believe.
So you're a Christian and you don't know that? Actually,
no, I really am.
You are.
Because I'm pure and virtuous.
You're pure and virtuous, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you're perfect without Jesus, right?
No.
Okay, tell me about Jesus. Who is Jesus?
Oh. Well, he's my leader.
Is he the Son of God?
Yes, he is.
Is he the only worshipful master?
Yes.
Have you ever been called worshipful master?
No, because I've just been too busy. I've been working.
Working?
Working to help people.
What
like
kind of work? Okay.
Get out of here.
See, this is what a Mason confesses, is that Lucifer is light.
patients 21 to 24 announced yesterday evening, March 9, 2020. This brings the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 33.
Recommend that you stop watching the news, because the news contrives to frighten you, to make you feel small and alone.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish things simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
To make you feel that your mind isn't your own.
You're free. And freedom is beautiful. And, it'll take time to restore chaos and order, but we're order out of chaos, but we will.
And I ain't gonna take any more. Believe me, the sun
and I have been building rockets since we were teenagers. We want to change aviation history forever. Our ultimate goal is to take man into space.
Man into space. It is a comic book fantasy. You will blow yourself up.
How'd it go?
Every time I think we're making headway, we take a step back.
The bank called again. We're 2 months behind.
You truly believe that you, Jack Parsons, can build a rocket that will take us all to the moon?
Yes.
Preposterous.
Looks like someone's moving into the old Weller place. Who moves in the middle of the night?
We'll have to go introduce ourselves. Hi, we're Mr. and Mrs. Parsons from next door.
I'm Ernest. I'll take that.
My wife thinks you got a screw loose.
I'm trying to find my true path. There's only two kinds of people in this whole world. The ones who want to follow the rules and the ones who want to break them. Who says we have to obey?
Father, how do you know when you're in the presence of evil? Jack seems compelled.
My father taught me about symbols like this. He said that they were gateways.
Gateways to what?
Rockets are the future, whether you want to believe in them or not.
You can be the man you've always dreamed of being. You just need to have an open mind.
I promise you, our life will never be boring.
To develop technologies essential for lowering the cost of going to space, Lockheed Martin is building and will fly an extraordinary, fully reusable vehicle, the X-33. Its first 450-mile flight from Southern California to Utah will take just 14 minutes. To protect the vehicle from the high heat of re-entry, X-33 uses an innovative metallic thermal protection system. X-33 flies and lands autonomously. After landing, the X-33 will be returned to the launch site, be reprocessed and flown again in a matter of days, demonstrating rapid turnaround critical to the operations of a low-cost spaceplane. Its two linear aerospike engines propel the vehicle to speeds greater than Mach 13 and an altitude of more than 50 miles. The fuel for these engines is carried in lightweight composite cryogenic tanks, which forms the lifting body structure, creating an efficient aerodynamic design. Flying the X-33 demonstrator will prove the technologies required to make space transportation more available by reducing the cost of getting there. The Odyssey begins. Venture Star.
Now, I know that some of us have doubts about what we're about to do. We'd be less than human if we didn't. But the fate of the nation Perhaps the world is in our hands. We dare not refuse this burden. I'm confident that each of you will do his duty. God forgive us.
Your town is being quarantined.
We got 19 dead. We got 100 more infected. It's spreading like a brush fire.
What are you talking about?
If one of them's got it, then 10 of them have got it now. And if one of them gets out of Cedar Creek, we have a very interesting problem.
The most optimistic projection for the spread of the virus is this: 24 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours.
The greatest medical crisis of all time.
We can't stop it.
Begins.
Attention, Portland residents, people of Seattle, citizens of San Diego, residents of Atlanta, Denver residents.
Health issues affect people of all ages, income levels, and cultures. No one is immune. Advocate for and promote mental well-being in your life and to those around you. You're not alone. The more you know.
Mandel is joining us now. What's up, my man?
Where is he?
Howie, it looks...
I'm be honest with you, the makeup tutorials did not work out. They didn't pan out as... I'm looking for extra things. You guys are lucky. Production is happening right now. I'm not doing much. So I'm doing Uber Eats, and I'm delivering. I'm doing Uber and delivering, and I actually have a passenger here with me now, and I'll do this quickly, but I'm hoping to get 5 stars. Want a mint?
No thanks, just some water.
Keep your mint, just some water. I got water. I got drink. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, that explains why you're in the car, the mask, the whole deal. At least you gave it a shot. I admire the ambition with the makeup tutorial. How's the TikTok game, though?
It's, I don't know. You know what's funny about TikTok? And I keep doing it, and I love it because, as I told you the last time I was on, I have the attention span of a gnat. So anything that is 15 seconds and shorter is something that I can really get into.
Howie, we know you're a germaphobe. Have you been vaccinated?
Yeah, I got my first Moderna. I lined up like everybody else, and I got vaccinated. I lined up at Dodger Stadium, and I got my first one. I was afraid. I got the Moderna one, and I don't care. I think everybody needs to be vaccinated.
Checkmate.
Oh! Again?
Obviously, you're not well suited for 3-dimensional chess. Perhaps 3-dimensional Candyland would be more your speed.
Just reset the board.
It must be humbling to suck on so many different levels.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Did you get my mail?
Yeah, right here. How was Nebraska?
Oh, better than North Dakota.
I guess that joke's only funny in Nebraska.
From the data at hand, you really can't draw that conclusion. All you can say with absolute certainty is that that joke is not funny here.
Boy, it's good to be back.
How's your family?
Oh, it was the worst trip. Everyone got sick over the weekend.
Sick? Here we go. What kind of sick?
The flu, I guess.
But I don't need you to guess. I need you to know. Now, when did the symptoms first appear?
Maybe Friday?
Friday. Was that morning or afternoon?
I don't...
Think, woman who blew their nose and when?
Sheldon, relax. She doesn't have any symptoms. I'm sure she's not contagious.
Oh, please. If influenza was only contagious after symptoms appear, it would have died out thousands of years ago. Somewhere between tool using and cave painting, Homo habilis would have figured out to kill the guy with the runny nose.
Penny, you'll have to excuse Sheldon. He's a bit of a germaphobe.
Oh, it's okay. I understand.
Thanks for your consideration. Now please leave.
You'd better go before he starts spraying you with Lysol.
Okay, well, thank you for getting my mail.
No problem. Welcome home.
If we turn against each other based on divisions of race or religion,
Come on, try getting it out.
That's all, folks.